Hey everyone, welcome back to Master Site. Today we got our first game of the Bison Brawl GT, and we got a great weekend's worth of games. So if you guys haven't already, check out my previous video, the preview, to see the list that I was playing and for me going over some of the unique or special rules of the event as well. Um, this game, I'm going to be playing against Jose Vega and his Order the Green Lady. So let's go ahead and jump into his list and get this on the road. So Jose's Green Lady, he's got 3 Heart Piercer regiments. He has a regiment of Order the Brotherhood, 2 regiments of Redemption Knights, a horde of Forsaken, a Beast of Nature with the wings and 7 attacks, 2 Pegasus, an Exemplar Redeemer with the Unicorn upgrade, and 2 Unicorns, both with Lightning Bolt, 1 with Slashing, 1 with Mesa Crushing, totaling 13 drops, 22 unit strength. This is the first time I'm going to be playing Jose. He is from Texas, and as it currently stands, I actually just saw that he is the King of the South right now, being ranked 1 in their Masters rankings right now. So go Jose, show him how to do it. And yeah, so like I said, if you haven't looked at the previous intro video, please do so. There's a special character, the Bison, and these are the stats that he gets for the first game. So he's much more of a support caster in this game. So he's Nimble, Thunder Charge 1, Elite, Vicious Melee. He has Regen 5 up, Radiance of Life. He also gained Heal 5, Celestial Restoration 2. He has a little bit lower nerve than he normally does as well. So, and our objectives to keep in mind this game is the Bison that heals more wounds than your opponent's Bison gets a point, and the Bison being in a combo charge with another hero. So I have 5 heroes in the list, all of which are just fine at going into combat. So, and it can be a counter charge. So the heals, it does count regeneration, radiance of life. So all of these heal mechanics he has will count towards that. So this is Jose, for those that don't know. And like I said, first time playing Jose, so always great to I've talked to him plenty of times, but always great to actually get a game in with somebody you don't normally see. So this is our setup for the table here. A little bit blurry picture, sorry about that, but our impassable pieces are this big thing on the left, the tall building on the top right. We got a forest top left and bottom right. We have 2 flats in the center, one on the top, one in the very center. There's an obstacle over here and an obstacle right here, and then our hills are here and over to the right. This is after my redeploy. I ended up redeploying at the archers. They were originally over here close to the hill. I moved them over here. So we'll here. And that's after my first turn, but I'm going to jump in so that way we can see a little closer for the deployment. So I have a general on winged beast out here with a giant and a Pegasus hero. I then have my 2 ballistas, the horde of bowmen, spear phalanx here. In the forest, I put a giant and the knights. Behind the giant is the captain. This is my other hero, the bison. Is this here? Then I have 2 phalanx that ran up to get in touch with the hill there. The general behind them. The 2 militia mobs here, and the So the scenario we're playing is Invade. And Jose over here has his Exemplar Redeemer on Winged Unicorn. He has his Brotherhood Knights, two of his Heart Piercers with one of the unicorns. He then has another Heart Piercer in the center here with the other unicorn, backed up by the Forsaken Horde. He has one of his Redemption Knights. This is actually his Bison, even though it looks like it has wings and everything. That's his Bison. Beast of Nature's on the far right. His other Redeemer regiment is here, with both of his Pegasus behind. So, back up real quick here. So, in deployment, Jose kind of put down his shooting all first. So when his shooting was over here, I have a lot of units that are pretty susceptible to his shooting, and I don't want the spear phalanxes to get focus fired too heavily because they work against everything in Jose's army. He does not want to charge them with anything. So I would rather run away from them basically, but I can't ignore them completely. Have to keep them over on that side. So I put a lot of the unit strength on the far right, seeing as majority of his shooting was on the left and a little bit in the center. And then I just put my shooting centralized as well here to kind of counter that and hold these out. I'm going to use this impassable terrain over here to help just keep the units that are over here from swinging around into the flank, preventing me from getting across the board. And then my goal is just to walk him down and get across the board and force him into poor engagements with the units that are over here right now. So that's in general the goal. This Exemplar Redeemer, I definitely don't want to let it into the backfield early on. So I have, and with this impassable piece, it's really easy for him to be able to do that. And I could do the same with my general, is, use this impassable, block line of sight, jump over, turn. He has the shooting over here though that could answer it, so I'm not, I'm not really looking to take that trade. I feel more confident with just setting the line here. So after my first turn, we go to Jose's turn, and this is in general how he moved. My shooting did nothing. I didn't even bother moving the bowmen up. I don't really want them getting shot a whole bunch either. They didn't get a shot this turn. Oh well. I know Jose's gonna have to move forward if he wants to shoot. I didn't measure it out the best. I probably could have kept these spears back a little bit to try and pull him out of the cover with his shooting unit, but um, either way, I, uh, I did what I did. So little missed opportunity. But Jose didn't really move up too aggressively. Oh, my ballista shot did a couple wounds to a Pegasus. He's going to heal that, no problem, because the Bison has heals. So, and over here, he moved up a little bit forward. He was just using this dice to kind of mark range for like my Giant or my Pegasus, one of those two, and moved up like so. We just have a nice little standoff over here going right now, but I'm going to try to use this impassable piece to make it less of a standoff here shortly. He is trying to get his shooters over involved towards the center of the board in that right flank. So, but he did still angle them in such a way that he could get a shot on the Giant this turn with one of the units at least. So, yeah, and then he nudged forward just a little bit. Realistically, he's trying to delay a little bit until his shooting picks off a unit or so. Yeah, so his main focus is going to be this spear phalanx, and this is what it looks like after Jose moves and does his stuff. I think he put like 3 or 4 wounds on the spear phalanx, so. Um, and like a couple wounds on the giant. Yeah. So then it's my turn, and this is what the board looks like after I move. So let's get a little closer here. I don't know why these pictures are being weird. So on the left here, I moved up quite aggressively, put the knights in the flank of the giant. They cannot fit. The Impassible's blocking off line of sight with his Redeemer to anything over here. So moving up like this, I put the Peg hero in a position so that if his Redeemer wants to jump over, I have him to answer it. So again, trying to focus on the objective. These are unit strength pieces that will get across the board if I let them, and I only have 3 unit strength over here with these, so if I kill the Knight Regiment, that's just an even trade. If I can get another piece out of there with all 3 of these combined, then I'm just ahead in that exchange while also taking all these units' attention away from the majority of my unit strength. So, and I do out unit strength Jose by a decent amount. I think it was like 4 or 5 unit strength, maybe. And then on the right, we're pushing our advantage on the flanks here. Um, this general is like right in the middle of the unit, but the hill being weird, so he is completely protected by the spear phalanx. So pushed him up. They're on the hill. They are threatening a charge off the hill. So really want to put Jose in a situation where he feels like he needs to do something. Also, they're across the board right now, so it's only turn 2, but invade matters eventually. So, and I had to push them up far enough to be out of front arc of this unit here because we definitely do not want to get flanked. So, yeah. And then the big thing was this turn especially was positioning the militia mobs. I know the militia mobs are going to be needed to just take a hit. They're only unit strength 2, so I really want to insulate kind of the higher priority units, which is the spearmen at 3, the cav at 3, and the horde at 4. Um, Everything else is going to be a little bit less important. So yeah, and then shooting, I go ahead and try and shoot the ballistas back at this guy here because I failed to do anything with my bowman. And I do 2 wounds again. He had healed 2 wounds. I also healed my knights, or not knights, my spear phalanx with the bison. Between his radiance of life and his heal, I think I got like 3, 4 wounds back, maybe. So I should be at like 1 or 2 wounds right now. Yeah, and these guys move up rather aggressively as well because we don't care if he wants to charge us. His shooting is actually more of a threat to this unit than the charges would be. So yeah, but yeah, the bowman shot here. We're just in 24 inches, so we did get him to have to come out. But the issue is that he's still in the cover. So I have 1 ballista that has line of sight. The other one's going to be blocked. But since I didn't do a wound with the bowman, I went ahead and shot the ballistas at the Pegasus. Even though he healed it up again last turn, if I get lucky, get a couple hits, blast into 4 wounds, I could pick up a 10, 12 potentially. So, or waver it is even going to be helpful. But shooting a unit with regen just doesn't seem very appealing. So, yeah. And then shooting that forced his bison to reposition over to this side. So the bison's not even in a position to threaten any of my units either. So Jose's turn, and he does shoot the these guys. Gets him up to 9 wounds. I still have them rallied, so he does get a waiver on them now. So, um, Yep, knew they were going to get shot. That's why I kind of pushed them up there pretty aggressively. Actually, definitely happy with the waiver versus a kill in that situation. So, and the rest of his movement was very minimal, repositioned over on the left here to shoot at the giant. He pretty much stayed where he was. He's backed up his Beast of Nature, but he's kept his Redeemer Knights in range for the Spear Phalanx to charge off the hill. The General could also charge, but those are the only two charging. And then he has a flank with his Beast of Nature, so. Um, yeah, so pretty straightforward here with the movement. Oh, he did a pop over his Redeemer character into this little area right about here. But he's pretty well controlled in that spot, so I'm not too worried about it. And over here, like we said, so he repositioned. So the big thing is now he can see the flank of this unit. So if he had that positioning before on the previous turn, I wouldn't have been able to play as aggressive and would have had to delay a little bit longer. So, but now that he has it, I'm going to have to address it. So, beginning of my turn 3, this is how we look, and this is where we go. So, we're getting into some scrums here. So, let's dive in. So, on the left, a little bit of mistake on Jose's part. I wouldn't have done this except he left the unicorn out of inspiring. So he got this unicorn over just far enough to shoot a lightning bolt at that spear phalanx unit. Um, but this unit's no longer inspiring. So coming in with the hindered general, but the giant, with Strider, I feel all right. These guys are only a 13-15, so have decent amount of attacks, hitting on 4s, winning on 2s, and all we need is one good nerf roll. Yeah, so you go ahead and do that. Also, get it in this picture, but here, this Pegasus actually backs up to be outside of 20 inches, but I just want to block the field that his Exemplar Redeemer could take to kind of come and help support the right flank. If I can delay him this turn, then I don't think his Redeemer is going to be able to affect the outcome of the right flank. He's just going to be too late. So that's my ultimate goal at this point is to delay the Redeemer, and if he wants to come back into this conflict here, I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm only really exposing 2 unit strength here, and if I kill 2 unit strength right there in this turn, I've it's even trade. So, um, yeah, and let's dive into the right flank here. So this was obviously just a bad charge, and Jose definitely did a good job. He didn't commit the turn before this, so um, he set a trap up. But I know I knew I didn't want to fall for it, so I just maintained my position on the hill here. I used my militia mob as better roadblocks, blocking up the flank here from the knights, and then advancing a little bit with my own knights and my giant. My giant at this point will take a Redeemer unit to the front. He's unwounded, and that's the only thing that can get to him. I'm more than happy to take a single charge. And then these knights are he's not able to squeeze through or fit through based off his angle, so he can't get into these knights. The one thing it does open him up to though is he can take his knights into the fronts of my units as well as Beast of Nature somewhere, and use these Pegasus to block up my giant, my knights, anything he really wants. So I do have to, you know, uh, being aware that I also have my hero ready to jump in front of one of those redeemers when they inevitably break through as well. So, yep, just getting ready for the trades here. Also, I'm ready. Yeah, the ideally setting up just bad charges. So I did run forward with there's a militia mob over here as well. Um, so just trying to force some of the engagements, pushed him up this far so that he could not back out of my ability to charge him with those guys in the next turn. So just really force the issue. I did shoot the ensnares this turn, which really helped because I got a waiver on them, and I did get a good amount of heal. I think I brought the 9 wounds back down to 4 wounds. So between Radiance Life and then heal 5 with Elite, I got 5 wounds recovered from the regiment. So definitely very happy to have a healing Bison at this point. And then on the left flank, we did get the kill. So we're turning to face the Knights. The Knights, no matter what they charge, are going to be hindered because Jose just didn't have the points to take the Pathfinder item or the upgrade for the Green Lady Knights. So I'm going to try and keep my guys safe. But they definitely both had to turn to face the Knights at this point. So we'll take Heart Piercers in the rear if he really wants. So this is the board state going into bottom of 3, and Jose did a lot of movement. It's time to collide. So we'll get into exactly where he collided. So he took the Knights into the general here, and then he decided he needed to come help out his Knights now that he lost a unit. So the Redeemer was able to land in kind of the perfect spot. So it's out of front arc of the Giant, and the Pegasus back here that was playing defense, it is out of 20 inches of that Pegasus as well. So I think definitely best move for Jose with that piece at this point. So, and he went in over here. So he did put both peg hero or peg monsters, his are monsters, mine are heroes, into the knights and the giant. He then realized, hey, that's a flank actually on the militia mob, so we'll do that. They were dead either way, so. And then he took the Beast of Nature into the front of the Spear Phalanx. So he also moved forward over here. That dice was just marking range possibility for charges. Might have been from the Bison or something. So wanted to just make sure, or actually, I think it was from the Pegasus. So either way. So he shot and wavered these guys again. So they went down to like 4 wounds, got 4 more wounds on them between the 2 lightning bolts that were casted against them. So we are sitting at 8 wounds now. But we're alive, wavered and alive. It's all right. Obviously, the militia mob died gloriously. And then the other militia mob also died, which isn't a gimme. He was hindered, so it was very possible that they could live. I think this is actually where Jose. So he had a terrible turn in nerve. So he kills the flank of the militia mob over there, no problem. Then he's just going down the line at this point. He goes into the spear phalanx. He does a couple wounds, I think, and then rolls snake eyes. Yeah, no big deal. He then goes to the next one and rolls snake eyes again, and he proceeded to do that for 4 combats this turn. He rolled 4 snake eyes in a single turn, and it was just the craziest dice I've ever seen. Many of them didn't matter in the end, but it was either this turn or next turn because he did end up using his tournament reroll and ended up getting another snake eyes, which something that wasn't clarified before. So there is a tournament reroll. And if you're re-rolling a nerve check, you re-roll both dice. But that was something that neither Jose or I knew in this game, so we treated it as most other tournament re-rolls we were familiar with, where you just re-roll a single dice in the game. So he would re-roll a 1 into a 1 on a nerve check at some point. Um, but everything else just stuck. The knights took a wound, the giant took a wound. No big deal from the Pegasus. They just did their job to hold things up. So this is what it looks like going into turn 4. And over here on the left, he did some wounds, but again, because he was hindered, he wasn't able to even get a waiver onto the general. So we were able to get a double charge with my giant and the general. And then I just moved the Pegasus up in this manner out of the front arc, but able to threaten wherever this guy goes. On the right, we take the Pegasus into the Knights, as we expected to do. We're going to finish off these pegs. Since our Knights are disordered, I went ahead and took the Captain into the peg over here. This giant with Slayer should be able to kill a Pegasus, but we'll see. And then the Bison ran back over to use his Radiance of Life to get the 1 wound off both of these guys and keep supporting the Spear Phalanx. So, we shot again, so he regened these guys back down to like 3 or 4 or 2, I forget exactly. But then we shot him again, and we got him up to 5 and a waiver again, which is very helpful when we're trying to keep our spears alive. So, and this is post majority of the combats here. So, giant killed the Pegasus, reformed to where I kept the unicorn in my flank so it couldn't fit here. But the Forsaken are in the front of the giant if they want to take that charge. Then, after killing this, the knights back up and only get back up 1 inch, and then I try to get more separation with the captain. Only sidesteps an inch, just because I know that these Forsaking, they can kill the captain and then try to get an overrun into something. But at this point, I was looking, it's like, I don't think his base fits in there because his Redeemer Knights here are a little bit in the way. So, yeah, we kind of pulled it out. We looked and it's like, yeah, they don't fit because of the Redeemer Knights. Now, he can move the Redeemer Knights. So, yeah, so it'll make for an interesting option here. But we're just, and also we took a double charge, the General and the Spear Phalanx, into the Beast of Nature. And we got lucky. We killed a Beast of Nature, which we had no business doing. Just, yeah, spiked a roll. I think the General did like 6 wounds, and then the Spears did like 3 wounds themselves. So, we got like an 8 twice, I think, on the nerve. So, just, yeah, rolled out of the box on that one. So this is what we're looking at going into Jose's turn, bottom 4. And this is where he ended up. So we'll dive in a little bit here. So on the left, he took the flank into the giant because I did waiver this unit, but they have headstrong. So they pass the headstrong, they countercharge the giant, and then he's flanking the giant. He is hindered by the slimmest of margins, though, so there might be a little hope with that. We'll see. And then he's trying to shoot off. He's actually shooting at the general right now with his shooting, even though general's got cover and everything. He has decent amount of wounds, like 5, 6, 7 wounds, something like that. So if he puts on a few wounds and gets a decent nerve roll, he could pick it up. and then the giant's uninspired, so that's much more likely. So yeah, definitely don't blame him for that. And then over here, the big one, he did withdraw from the peg hero with the knights, so that way he could fit in the Forsaken. So the Forsaken are in there only because he's not in combat with this unit. And it was going to be a 3-inch overrun to get them into the knights if he does kill the captain. So, yeah, I mean, a 13-15 for the captain, 14-16 for the knights. No magic items on the Forsaken, so it's like I feel like I, you know, it's not where I want to be, but I have opportunities. I have a chance to live. So, and if he kills the knights, he could continue to overrun and probably get out of my range. Also, the Lord or General here is looking in towards the center here. So after I killed that beast of nature, I moved forward with the spears, so that way nothing was going to be able to hit the Lord. Um, so yeah, I feel like I'm controlling the Forsaken. Even if they kill, overrun, kill, maybe they get a big enough overrun to where I can't see them with anything. But even if they do, they're not looking at anything for that turn, so it's not the end of the world. So, but yeah, and he moved up his bison so that way he can get into the action here a little bit. The spears hold. They had 1 wound before, so they take 5 wound from the Redeemer Knights, which is probably close to average with their 20 attacks. So definitely glad that they held. The captain dies. Sad day. But still not a guarantee with his overrun. But oh, he got it. But he did 10 wounds, and he just got a waiver. So not quite. I think it was one try. I think he literally rolled the 5. He needed a 6. But we are inspired by that general on Wing Beast that's only like 6 inches over this way. So our knights are also headstrong, so they might be able to fight in this as well. But we definitely got lucky there, boys. I mean, or at least didn't get unlucky. So this is my turn 5, and over here we charge into the knights. So my thought process on this one probably should have been a little bit different. So I charged into the knights with the. I definitely lost sight of the objective here. So I charged into the knights with the general on Wing Beast, which he's hindered because they had countercharged the giant, thinking that should be enough if I can kill the exemplar hero who's inspiring them. And I had rear charged the exemplar hero as well with the Pegasus here, obviously. The giant has Slayer, so he's much more equipped to kill this model. So that was my thought process, but realistically, I should have probably just looked at it as this is 3 unit strength. I should just guarantee as much as I can to kill 3 unit strength. Since I'm talking about this, y'all probably know what happens, but we'll come back to it here. So, um, my the Forsaken are getting sandwiched every which way. I don't know if I've ever had this before, where I've had literally a unit in every front of another unit. So I have a rear with the general on Wing Beast, a flank with the Minotaur. The knights did get their headstrong rolls, so they countercharge in the front, and then the horde of pole arms go into the flank. Um, I just want these big birds dead. Yeah. Uh, and then so something I forgot to mention last turn is that even though I had put the unicorn in the flank of the giant, he was able to individual pivot into the front to charge it to in hopes and should prevent me from using the giant to kill like these knights. So anyway, so we're going for the overkill here because our hero on Peg gets a redo to block these guys up. And I charge it again. I probably shouldn't even charge. They're sitting on an obstacle, so it probably would be better if I just let him charge me. But I do know if I charge him, there's no possibility of a corkscrew charge because he can't back up an inch. We're playing the base for this impassable piece here, so I don't risk it. I just charge him. Say screw it. This guy, the peg hero's meant to die. So if he kills me because it's a counter charge versus a fresh charge, so be it. They got 20 attacks anyway. I have no business living. And then we're just maintaining the same combat over here. Our shooting spikes, and I think he failed all regens last turn, and he was up to 5, so I think we put another 5 wounds on this regiment, which is great. And so much so that I think I even shot and did a couple wounds over to this unit as well. So, yeah. Yeah. So this is after combat's done. We'll see these dice over here. There's not enough of them there, but this unit's up to 24 wounds or something like that right now, and I roll the snake eyes. Yeah, but I have that tournament reroll, and again, didn't know you reroll all the nerve dice, but I rerolled a 1 and got it into another 1. And yeah, so we gift back a single snake eyes that Jose had been kind enough up to this point to gift us. So, um, yes. And then on the left, as you all probably expected, I waver the knights again, but again, they have headstrong. And I don't even waver the exemplar redeemer in this situation. So, unfortunate, but something epic did happen. I rolled boxcars for the giant. I do remember that. So I rolled boxcars on the 2d6 for the giant's attack rolls, and he hit 7 times and did like 4 wounds. So giant failures is still appropriate name for the list at this point. So in Jose's bottom of 5, nothing really changes over here besides his Bison comes into the flank of the horde here. He continues into the knights because they're up to like 10 wounds at this point. And then he continues over here, so he wants to finish off this giant, and then his shooting will continue to shoot here, which I'm in a danger zone. I'm at like 8, 9 wounds, so I definitely will be getting wavered, as we see here. So got the waiver on the general, killed the giant, and then he sidesteps, and then he reforms to face the peg. He does me another solid over here, and he only does 1 wound with Forsaken into my knights. Some of this stuff is just ridiculous. And I think he wavers them again, but as we know, they're headstrong knights. So yeah, so this is going into turn 6, and this is the movement. So on the left, I charge into the 7 wound character. I could not see the knights because we're right up against each other. He's actually the same height as me. So otherwise, I would have charged the flank of the knights, but let's try to get lucky and pick up the Redeemer. He has 7 wounds on him. I did. He did get unlucky again, where they actually have regen, and he failed all 7 regen rolls. So some dice in this game was just little ridiculous. So over here on the right, the other crazy thing is not only did he um, not do hardly anything to the knight. He did 3 wounds to a hero on Pegasus with Redeemers. Like Jose needs an. He bought a new brick of dice after this game. He showed me, so it was absolutely ridiculous. He does kill the spear phalanx from last turn, um, and only overruns an inch, but yeah, it's just crazy. So, I guess the Forsaken are devastated, so that makes more sense why he only did 1 wound to the Knights, but still, 9 attacks, hitting on threes, crush one. You'd think, I mean, average is 3 wounds, and he did one, so I guess it's more within the possibility than I was thinking. But anyway, at this point, these spears that had been damaged before are back down to 1 wound because we just keep healing and keep healing, and the Bison healed him every turn except for the one where he combo charged with the character. That was one of our objectives, remember. And at this point, I've ran away with the healing ability between his Radiance of Life, just healing everybody that's in these scrums, and his healed, averaging like 3 or 4 heals a turn because he's got Elite. It's just been really effective. So we finished off the stuff we need to. So we kill the Redeemers, we kill the Forsaken, we overrun, we keep pushing forward. Turn 6, so everybody's across the board except for I think the Knights this turn on this side because I did move the Bison up to get across. So, and the Bison actually this turn threw a long bomb Celestial Restoration onto the General here to try and keep him alive for the next turn. So. But it's not meant to be, I don't think. So I failed to do a single wound with the against the Redeemer, which is an uncommon, only 3 attacks. So he went ahead and just flew away, and then he flank charged the general in the forest here. And over here, he just charged the front of the horde, who had been only taken a couple wounds up to this point. He moved his Pegasus over. Yeah, so he puts him up to 13, 16, 16, and gets a waiver. So needed a 6 twice there. Fails. Unfortunate. Does kill the general, turns him around to face the peg. And this is the last picture I have, but we do get a turn 7. So in turn 7, the General and the Giant are flanking this unit, and we pop our Indomitable Will and go back in. So we pick up the Redeemer unit. All unit strength on this side of the board gets across. His Lightning Bolt failed to do a wound to the Knights that were sitting at 10 wounds now after the Radiance of Life triggered. So on my turn, I move them up more. Everybody just kind of gathers in. Radiance Life Bubble goes off, and I end up actually healing the horde that's 4 unit strength with my Bison on the last turn, knowing that they're at, they would be at 15 wounds, and just a couple wounds for Lightning Bolt would be easy enough to kill them. So my shooting does spike again. Kind of. I mean, the Heart Piercers being defense 3, they're really susceptible now that they're out of the cover. The Bowman put like 5 wounds on them. I get another 3 or 4 wounds from the ballistas, and again, he is out of inspiring range. So just one good nerve roll at one time. And then at this point, I do realize Pegasus going into the Knights is better off because, one, I have a chance of wavering or even killing him because, again, they're uninspired. They've taken a decent amount of damage. And two, even if I don't waver, kill him, or he makes his headstrong roll, I'm keeping him on that side of the board, even with the 6-inch overlay. So we go ahead and do that. Everything on the right plays out as we expected. We got the kills. We kept everybody alive. In Jose's turn, his lightning bolt attempt fails him yet again. Didn't even get a wound. We killed the heart piercers, and so at the end of the game, he has 1 unit strength across the board, and I believe I had 13. He does kill the Pegasus, um, so I get max points. So we're playing blackjack essentially. So I get max points for the objective portion, and then after kills all added up, I get just a +1 for kill. So if it was just straight blackjack, I would have a 17 at this point, I believe. No, it should be more than that. I have a 19 at this point. Yeah, because 4 plus 14 and then 1. But then we also had the Bison objectives, which I got both the objectives, which equates to 3 bonus points. So normally a 19 would go to a 22 out of 24 possible points. So starting off strong with a big win. This is the second Order of Green Lady army that we faced, and with the Kingdoms of Men, and it's quite different than the first one, which had a good amount of Earth Elementals. But man, the Knights just hate seeing those spear phalanx, and those heavy hammers just aren't enough to pop a giant in one go. So it just feels like it's a pretty hard counter because we're faster than them with a lot of our units. Um, and then we just stick around so that their hammers just don't actually accomplish what they're trying to do. So it and this particular build didn't really have the sustain or heal outside the Bison in this particular game. So they can't even really sit in a grind against us too well. I think the Bison definitely helped me out more than Jose. I might have been able to kill a Pegasus, but him killing a regiment's a spear and then start firing on some other units was going to be much more impactful in this game if it was just a straight up. Um, but really, really fun game. I appreciate Jose smiling and laughing throughout, even though we clearly saw that some of these dice statistics were well below average. But Jose's a great guy and definitely would play him again. I know he just recently went back to his Green Lady. He had been playing Undead for quite a while, so um, but yeah, I like his army. I think it's really good. It just is is a tough matchup against this particular Kingdoms of Men army. So, but yeah, I appreciate you all for watching, and I will get game 2 out shortly. So be on the lookout. We'll see you guys next time.